Welcome back to Beelzebub the Jag. I'm just about to trim this panel I'm going to trim quite a lot of it actually. It's got large flanges on, which these are unnecessary. That one's got to stay. I've just trimmed this piece away from here. That area on the car is a bit rotten, but this isn't, and these two corners. So I've just put scribe lines, and it's always a little bit of a nervous experience trimming a panel you've made, because you deliberately make them slightly larger so there's plenty of room for sort of adjusting and fiddling about. But obviously you can only cut it once, and if I cut it incorrectly, or oh dear, you're either welding pieces back on or having to make the panel again, which is, if you watch me make this damn thing in the first place, I'm sure you can imagine I don't want to be going through making it again. But slightly awkward to cut because it's on a curve, and just can't quite seat. Can't quite seat the trimmers, what they're called, tin snips trimmers. There we go. There we go. Just curl the waist up a little bit. It'll help. So I need to get these off. Then I need to make a really clean, sort of straight edge job, because that's not even close to being straight. So if I run a straight edge over there and take maybe 5 or 6 millimeters off, then I can push that as far back, seat this part, and then I'll be able to sort of trim quite a bit off here. That will need about 30, maybe 40 millimeters. We're actually going to lose quite a lot of these swages. We're only going to be keeping, I don't know, 25, 30 millimeters, about half of them. A lot will be trimmed away. Once I've got this panel trimmed, then I can use the panel to scribe the bodywork and then cut the bodywork away. So I'll make the bodywork fit. There's right-handed and left-handed snips. I explained this in earlier videos. These are left hands, these are the right. And what I've got here, I've got the waist curling away to the right-hand side. So the line, the scribed line I've got cut, stays nice and clean and straight, and the waist curls upwards. If you use the wrong snips, it tries to curl the work piece, the bit that you're trying to salvage and save and keep nice and straight, that bends and buckles. So there are left and right-handed. So yeah, there we go. There's a bit of it's quite awkward. It's not a very clean cut because I'm doing it, there is a bit of a curve just there, but I'll file that and make a slightly better job. Now then, can I come in and do let's have a look. I wonder if I can get the left-handed snips this time. I wonder if I can get clean enough. No, I don't think so. Bit of a devil actually. I've got to continue with the right-handers. Actually, I can't get as close to that line as I'd wish. What I'd need to do is come and trim it from the other side because the curve's getting in the way. So let's, which is the best way, left or right?
Oh, nope, this way.
That's what I need to do. Let me put another scribe line on and I'll do it from the other side. It's rather awkward. Let's have a look from about there. To that corner. It's constant fiddling. And people wonder why restorations are so expensive. Obviously, somebody working in a fully well-equipped workshop would be enormously much quicker than I am faffing about in the street. But what I'm doing here in the street gives you a sense of everything that needs to be done. And all of these jobs would need to be done in a workshop, and as we all know, workshop time is very, very expensive. Right. Yeah, working on a fold is quite difficult, I have to say. There we go. There we go. it's nice actually. I've been losing a lot of sleep about not getting this car done in the last few months, so it's extremely nice to get back onto it. There we go. There's one. That needs to stay, and this one needs to come off. I'm going to have the same problem, so let me just scribe it from the outside. About there. About there. Hey. There's my mark. I never actually considered the option of having a workshop because it's not something I'll ever have. I live in city centres. I don't live anywhere where a garage or a workshop will be possible, and it's not something that I fancy. I don't fancy a home away from a city centre, so I have to accept garages and workshops are something that will never happen for me. And I've done it in the past where I've rented farm buildings, but they're miles from home, and I never actually get anything done. I've been at work all day. It's about 6 o'clock in the evening. I've been at work since 7:30, and just come back, very quickly get changed and crack on with this straight away in the street. And if I had to sort of get changed, then do a 40-minute car drive to some farm builders somewhere, this would never happen. It just would simply, it would never get done. I'd never get around to doing these works. I've done it in the past, and I'm constantly paying out for rent on the farm building, but never actually getting any of the works done. And you kid yourself, oh yeah, I'll go there after work. The reality is, well, I don't, so other people might, but there we go. Let's just get a straight line here. So, I can sort of bit and bob, and if I can get myself up early enough in the morning, in the summer months when it's sort of light at 4:30, 5 in the morning, I can do an hour or two before I go to work. But having to sort of drive 40 minutes at least either way to a farm building in the middle of nowhere, I'd never, it just never would happen. The buildings become a problem. They become a financial burden to me, and I never visit. So at least working this way, unpleasant though it can be at times, working in the open and frustrating, and the jobs actually get done. There we go. Let's just straighten this line up. There we go. So do you see how the waste is rolling from the right hand side? If I turn the workpiece around and pick up the other shears, these are left-handed, so I can roll across the scribe line, and these will curl to the left. There we go. The waist is curling to the left. So it is really important that you have both left and right. Of course, you can have straight snips, but realistically, you very rarely use them. And they're not good. Straight snips are not good for detailed jobs like this, because you actually got a straight snip doesn't roll the waist out of the way. We can see we've got a very clean line here. If I was cutting with straight snips, it just buckles and makes an awful mess. You want the scrap area to curl up and out of the way. So I have got straight snips in here. I've even got curve snips, but I very rarely use the curve snips. It's actually easier to cut a curve with a straight pair than it is with curve, pop a curve on themselves. I'm sure I know that I've got straight ones in that bag somewhere. I've got everything, but they just don't ever get used. It's the truth. If you weren't familiar with using snips and you were constantly using the wrong left when you should have been right, a set of straight snips realistically might be better. But yeah, I've got 2 or 3 pairs of straight snips. I just don't use them. A good pair of left and right is generally all you need. You don't need curved snips. Nice to have them, but even though I've got them, in all honesty, I very rarely use them. There we go, we're nearly there. See, once I've got a really clean line, I can scribe the body of the vehicle and set about trimming the rot out. But you've only got one chance to cut, so it has to be correct. There we go, we're nearly there. There we go. I'm going to put this in, and then I need to mark up the front and trim off quite a lot, as I've said, along the front of this panel. I'll measure it several times before I do the cut. Don't want to be faffing about trying to add material to this panel, and I certainly don't want to go to the trouble of refabricating and forming the thing. There we go, that's better. Right, so yeah, we've got this edge because the original is rotten, but the raised pieces on the bodywork, they're all still there. So I'm going to turn the camera off now, and I'm going to push this in and settle it around for fit. Oh.